What's up again, viewers? Brian here at 3TR, and welcome to another episode of People's Questions. Now, before I get into this week's questions, I would first off like to thank the man himself, Troquilico Man 91, for being the only one to send any questions to me all week. And he sent about 7 or 8 of them. So if you're watching this, man, thank you for sending him. You personally can pat yourself on the back for saving episode 41. This is all for you, man. And now to get on to your questions. Your first one that you wanted to know was my thoughts on the PlayStation 4 Development Kit being sold around to a bunch of publishers. This is a predictable move. Now that the Nintendo Wii U has come out now, Microsoft and Sony really need to step their game up, and I have no doubt that the next PlayStation, the next Xbox are going to be revealed at next year's E3, which is why that's actually going to be one of my main goals for 3TR next year, is to somehow, some way get into E3, because it's going to be shown there. I want to get my first shot of it, and I want to share my thoughts with all of you out there when it is released and tell you exactly what I think the next, say, 5 or 6 years of gaming will be like for the future. Your next question was, am I excited for Injustice Gods Among Us? Absolutely. If you've seen my top 10 most anticipated games list, I believe it's number 3 on my list, behind Dead Space and Final Fantasy 13 Versus, which I may change since that game's been canceled. But absolutely, it's made by the guys that made Mortal Kombat, and the previous Mortal Kombat game that they made is by far the best fighting game I have ever played in my life ever, even topping the original Mortal Kombat. So the fact that they want to take a straight up DC, give it a DC paint job. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as violent and bloody as Mortal Kombat, but it definitely seems like it's going to have the brutality right. The maps are going to be interactive, and they're all going to be interactive differently with particular characters. And I actually will be posting up a video probably sometime in a couple days of my top 10 characters that I want to see in Gods Among Us. So yes, I am excited. And the question that you kind of tied into that one was, am I excited for the Mortal Kombat reboot? Absolutely. I did happen to see the little Mortal Kombat TV series. I mean, it never came on TV. It was like online, and it was called like Mortal Kombat Rebirth or something like that. And I felt that they weren't bad episodes, but it looked like they were simply being small stories for backstories for each particular character and their motivation for being in this tournament, which, if I remember correctly, this reboot is going to be more of a realistic setting, kind of. I mean, it looks like they may add other worlds like Outworld and the realm of Adina in it, but they definitely want to take a much more realistic tone. Nolanize it, as most people would call it. If you don't know what that is, I'll just comment down below and I'll tell you what that means. So yeah, definitely, I just would like to see a trailer come out sometime next year for me to see if they're sticking with what we saw in the sketch trailer, which was called Mortal Kombat Rebirth, and just to make sure it's on the same page, because that version of style and its just dark undertone is exactly what I would like the next Mortal Kombat movie to be. Your next question was my thoughts on the Xbox Surface tablets. I'll be honest, I've never heard of that. I haven't really had time to look into it, but any future technologies of Xbox I'm really not all that interested in, because I'm not an Xbox person. The only reason I would ever get an Xbox, and I think I've said this on my show before, is to get to connect to play Dance Central, because that seems to be its strongest quality, is that it can do dance games very well. So those are my thoughts quick thoughts on Xbox in a whole. Your next big question was, who is my favorite person to portray James Bond, and do I have a top 3? Yes, it's, I guess I'd have to think about it a little bit, but it would be, Daniel Craig may take it from what I've heard of Skyfall, and I will be seeing that by the time this video is up. I'm probably watching it right now, and if it's as good as I've heard, since it's been very successful overseas, Daniel Craig may take the spot for being my favorite Bond, because I definitely like his more realistic and much more punishing character. They definitely want to get into his psyche, which is something that none of the Bonds have ever been. They've kind of been, although they've been different, they kind of all do feel the same to their core. But I'd say behind him would probably be a tie between Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery, because Sean Connery is really the icon of James Bond. But Pierce Brosnan's James Bond was really the first Bond I had ever seen in the franchise. And that's the one that, you know, is tied in with GoldenEye. And, you know, GoldenEye would tie into the Nintendo 64 game, and we all know the story of how big that game got. So those three would be my top 3 James Bonds. Between Pierce Brosnan and Sean Connery, I'm really not sure who would take number 2 and number 3 yet. Maybe I'll find out after I see Skyfall today. Your next question is, what do I think about Mark Wahlberg possibly being the main character of Transformers? I heard this rumor a while back, and I think that Michael Bay said that he was not going to be in it. I mean, they did just do a movie together, but I don't think they want to put him in it. One thing I will say about the new Transformers movie, from what I've heard, that I think is a stupid idea, is they want to make the main character be a girl, and it's going to deal with new Transformers, so we're not even sure if we're going to see Optimus Prime or Bumblebee or any of those guys in this next one. And they want to take it into outer space. Personally, I think this is a very stupid decision. Like, why the hell would you want to have... I don't mind having a important female support character, but as for the main character, why would you want to put a girl in the main character position for a toy franchise which is targeted towards boys? That would be like making a My Little Pony movie and having a boy be the main character. This makes no sense. So, as far as what I've heard from this movie so far, I'm not really liking it all that much, but heck, anything can change with Michael Bay. He does tend to change his mind, as long as it has loud explosions, loud music, and shaky cam all over the place. I'm sure it'll be one hell of a roller coaster ride, but I'm not sure if I'm going to see it yet or not. And your last question that you wanted to know was Stan Lee announcing the Doctor Strange movie, what are my thoughts on it? I personally don't know all that much about Doctor Strange per se. I have seen him a couple times in this like old Fox Kids Spider-Man animated series. He did appear a couple episodes in there. But I'm sure it's another step for Marvel. I'm sure they don't want to just focus their main growth on the movies tying in with the Avengers, so they definitely will want to add more characters or make other side stories. So when I see a good trailer or know enough about Doctor Strange, I definitely will take a good week or two to do my research on Doctor Strange before I actually go see the movie whenever it comes out. So I'm just waiting to see what vision or what direction they want to take the character of Doctor Strange, because I don't know anything about him. So those are my thoughts on Doctor Strange. And with that, that is going to be all the questions I have gotten from Tequila Man this week. Again, thank you, man, for sending them in. You did save this episode. And for the rest of you guys who have seen this episode of The People's Questions, if you have any questions on any topic whatsoever, please post them in the comments down below, and I will answer them in the next episode, which will be next Friday. And if you like this video, please like, comment down below, and subscribe up top to keep track of me and my future videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.